Chapter 11. Recruitment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's right. After breaking through to the foundation establishment realm, Jiang Qingxian did not intend to be an independent cultivator anymore. That would be too tiring. He had to fight for the resources alone. Moreover, it was not efficient at all. Although after joining a sect or family, if he wanted resources, he had to make contributions, it could at least save him a lot of energy and time. He no longer had to work hard to gather resources and materials. As for the rules he had to abide by. Nothing in this world was perfect. Everything was relative. While you were restricted by the sect rules, you were also protected by the sect. Instead of worrying about that, he might as well think about which sect or family could provide him the greatest benefit. For the time being, Jiang Qingxian only wanted to join an immortal family. There were a few reasons why he did not consider the sect first. However, the most important reason was that the environment in the sect was too complicated. To put it bluntly, there were many factions within a sect. According to what Jiang Qingxian knew, the current owner of the Ganyang market, the Ganyang sect, was divided into 3 factions. If he chose to join the Ganyang sect, he would undoubtedly be involved in the checks and balances of the 3 factions. This was absolutely unavoidable. This would undoubtedly consume a lot of his time and energy and affect his cultivation. It was something Jiang Qingxian did not want to face no matter what. If this was the case for the Ganyang sect, the situation in the other sects would definitely not be any better. This was due to the mechanism by which the sects functioned. There would not be too many exceptions. On the other hand, because of familial ties, the struggles and strife in cultivation families would be much less. Even if there was, it was a relatively benign competition. Most of the time, they would focus their efforts in one direction to achieve some goal together. Of course, nothing was absolute. There were also sects that weren't divided, and cultivation families that were falling apart from within. That was why Jiang Qingxian needed to judge well and consider carefully. At this moment, Jiang Qingxian did not stay in his cave abode for long. He tidied up and lifted the restriction before walking out. When he came out, he immediately saw Xue Tianyang and the others, who had been waiting here for a long time. When Xue Tianyang and the others saw Jiang Qingxian come out, their eyes lit up. Xue Tianyang was the first to smile and say, "If I'm not mistaken, you should be fellow Daoist Jiang Qingxian, right? Congratulations on successfully reaching the Foundation Establishment realm. You have a chance of reaching the Violet Palace realm in the future." When the others heard this, they immediately spoke. Fellow Daoist Xue is right. For fellow Daoist Jiang to successfully reach the Foundation Establishment realm on your own, it can be seen that you have perseverance, talent, and luck. You will definitely have a bright future. The Eternal Sky sect is thirsty for talents like fellow Daoist Jiang. You can consider joining my sect. I can guarantee you that as long as you're willing to join the Eternal Sky sect, we will immediately give you the position of an elder. Other than that, there will be cave abodes, cultivation techniques, and Dharma artifacts for you to choose freely. Fellow Daoist Jiang, I won't disappoint you. Hearing Gu Qianshan's words, Xue Tianyang, Wan Donglai, Qiu Yishui, and the others all cursed in their hearts. However, at this moment, they knew that this was not the time to argue with Gu Qianshan. The most important thing now was to think of a way to recruit Jiang Qingxian. That way, not only would the sect or family have one more Foundation Establishment realm cultivator, but as people who led Jiang Qingxian to join the sect or family, they would also be rewarded for their contributions. This was also the main reason why they wanted to think of a way to rope Jiang Qingxian into their sect or family. Fellow Daoist Jiang, I don't think I need to tell you about the status of the Ganyang sect in the cultivation world of the Yun nation. The cultivation techniques, treasures, and cultivation resources in the sect are not something other Violet Palace sects or families could compare to. Although I can't promise you the position of an elder, I have no problem in making you a deacon just like me. If you're lucky, it's not impossible for you to become a disciple of the ancestor of the Ganyang sect who is in the Golden Core realm in the future. I believe that you will make the right choice. Xue Tianyang was very confident. In fact, he had successfully recruited Foundation establishment cultivators for his sect more than twice. In the past, when the new Foundation establishment cultivators heard that they could join the Ganyang sect, one of the three overlords of the Yun nation, they nodded in agreement without any hesitation. However, what Jiang Qingxian pursued was stability, peace, and no trouble. Different pursuits meant different choices. At this moment, Wan Donglai, Yi Feichen, Zhou Yishui, and Shen Rian also invited Jiang Qingxian and promised him something. The offers were similar to what Gu Qianshan said at the beginning. Jiang Qingxian did not give an answer right on the spot. Instead, he said that he needed to think about it carefully and would give everyone an answer when he had really thought it through. Actually, he had already made up his mind on who to choose, but he didn't want to embarrass the other 5 people. If he rejected them outright, it was hard to say what they would feel. They might feel that he looked down on them and didn't give them any face. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, it was better to wait until they left before taking the initiative to visit the one he wanted to join. He believed that as long as they were not really narrow-minded, they would not have any bad impressions of him because of this. In fact, the fact that they were sent here by their sect to recruit talents meant that they should be very easy to talk to. Otherwise, they would be more likely to recruit enemies rather than talents. Chapter 12. The Shen Immortal Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When everyone heard Jiang Qingshuan's words, they more or less understood what he meant. The way Jiang Qingxian handled it left a good impression on them. No matter what, a Foundation establishment cultivator who was polite and humble was definitely 100 or 1,000 times better than those arrogant ones. At the thought of this, the 6 of them did not stay any longer. They smiled and bade farewell to Jiang Qingxian before leaving. The next day, Jiang Qingxian arrived at the base of the Shen Immortal Family in the Ganyang market. That's right. The one Jiang Qingxian chose to join was the Shen Immortal Family headquartered in Flat Land County in the southeast of the Yun nation. There were 3 reasons why he chose the Shen Immortal Family. Firstly, the Shen Immortal Family was relatively open-minded. Their reputation was one of the best among the various immortal families in the Yun nation. Just because you weren't a member of the Shen family didn't mean you would be treated differently. At least on the surface, they were harmonious. There were naturally not many dramas happening in such a family. If he stayed there, he could save himself a lot of trouble. Then there was the strength and background of the Shen Immortal Family. To be honest, the Shen Immortal Family was not very strong among the various immortal families and sects of the Yun nation. Until now, there was only one person in the Violet Palace realm in the family. Currently, there were a total of 8 Foundation establishment cultivators either recruited from the outside world or were originally from the family. If Jiang Qingxian was included, there would be 9. Such strength was definitely not considered strong, but it was not weak either. What was worth mentioning about the Shen Immortal Family was the backer behind it. That was Shen Mingxue, a Violet Palace cultivator of the Ganyang sect. She was also the younger sister of the Violet Palace ancestor of the Shen Immortal Family. Most importantly, she was also the Dao companion of one of the current Golden Core cultivators of the Ganyang sect. With this relationship, in the next 200 years, the status of the Shen Immortal Family in the cultivation world of the Yun nation would be very difficult to shake. If he stayed in such an immortal family, he would definitely be able to have a relatively peaceful time. As for the last reason, it was what Shen Rian said to him secretly through voice transmission before she left yesterday. Shen Rian told Jiang Qingxian that if he was willing to join the Shen Immortal Family this time, not only would he be able to obtain a level 2 cave abode, but he would also be paid 550 spirit stones a year and a level 2 cultivation technique that he could cultivate until he reached the late stage Foundation establishment realm. Moreover, he would be allowed to choose a level 2 spell for free from the Shin Immortal family's sutra depository to practice. In addition, the Shin Immortal family could also provide Jiang Qingxian with a level 2 talisman book for free. It included the method of making all the low-grade level 2 talismans and some mid-grade level 2 talismans. The only condition was that after Jiang Qingxian advanced to a level 2 talisman master, if he had any talismans to sell, he had to sell them to the Shin Immortal family first. The offer from the Shin Immortal family was the most generous among the others. Not to mention that the current internal and external environment of the Shin Immortal family was the most suitable for Jiang Qingxian. There was no reason for him not to choose the Shin Immortal family. At this moment, when Shenruyan saw Jiang Qingxian coming over, a smile immediately appeared on her face. "Fellow Taoist Jiang, welcome. I knew you would choose us." Jiang Qingxian said with a smile, "Elder Shen, it's my honor to join you. The offer is too generous and I can't find a reason to decline it." As they spoke, the two of them laughed heartily. Shenruyan said, "Fellow Taoist Jiang, wait for me for a while. After I've arranged everything here, I'll bring you to the Shin family's headquarters. I believe that my elder brother, the head of the Shin Immortal family, will definitely be very happy to see you." Jiang Qingxian was a little surprised. From what Shenruyan said, she seemed to be the sister of the current head of the Shin family. That made sense. Otherwise, if she were an ordinary elder of the Shin Immortal family, she would probably not be able to make such a generous offer so readily. At the thought of this, Jiang Qingxian immediately smiled and nodded at Shenruyan. "Then I'll have to trouble you, Elder Shen." After a while, after Shenruyan finished arranging everything, she smiled and said to Jiang Qingxian, "Fellow Taoist Jiang, I've already sent a message to inform my brother that you've agreed to join the Shin Immortal family. My brother has already agreed to the offer I promised you. If there's nothing else you have to do, let's set off now." "Okay." Jiang Qingxian nodded. Soon, the two of them left the Shin family's base in the Ganyang market. After walking out of the Ganyang market, they flew towards Flat Land County in the southeast of the Yun Nation. It was almost a strenuous journey from Ganyang market to Flat Land County. Even with Jiang Qingxian and Shenruyan's speed, it would take at least a month. Moreover, they also needed to stop and rest from time to time. Therefore, when the two of them arrived at the Shin family's territory in Flat Land County, almost a month and a half had passed. The Shin Immortal family's headquarters was built on a level 3 spirit vein. The spirit vein was located in a mountain called Splendid Jade Mountain. There was a mid-grade level 3 defensive formation called Six Essences Formation set up on it. It was said to be able to withstand the combined attack of several late-stage Violet Palace realm cultivators. Inside the headquarters, there were many illusion arrays. Without a token, even if a person from the Violet Palace realm entered, they would be lost for a long time. At this moment, just as Shenruyan lifted the mountain protecting array and entered the Shin Immortal family with Jiang Qingxian, they saw 4 streaks of light suddenly flying over from afar. When the light got closer, they realized that there were 3 men and a woman. They looked to be in their 40s. Their cultivation levels were all at the Foundation Establishment realm. One of them was at the 9th level of the Foundation Establishment realm and had an extraordinary aura. He was the current head of the Shin Immortal family and Shenruyan's brother, Shen Daoming. At this moment, his gaze landed on his sister, Shenruyan, and a smile appeared on his face. "Ruyan, you're back." As he spoke, he and the other 3 people present couldn't help but shift their gazes to Jiang Qingxian. Shen Daoming smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist, you must be Jiang Qingxian, right? We heard about you from Ruyan. You are a fine-looking young man. As expected of someone who could successfully reach the Foundation Establishment realm on his own. I'm the current head of the Shin Immortal family, Shen Daoming. On behalf of the entire Shin Immortal family, I welcome you to join us." With that, he and the other 3 elders of the Shin family at the Foundation Establishment realm cupped their fists at Jiang Qingxian. Chapter 13. Choosing a cave abode. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiang Qingxian quickly returned the greeting. You flatter me. I was just lucky. The two sides exchanged pleasantries. Only then did Shen Daoming smile and continue, fellow Taoist Jiang, let me introduce you. As he spoke, he pointed at a green-robed man among the three. This is my brother, Shen Daofeng. He's currently an elder of the Shen immortal family's Hall of Importation. This is Ruyan and my cousin, Shen Rushuang. She's a level 2 alchemist. Shen Daoming pointed at the only woman among the three. Finally, he pointed at the only man among the three with a long saber on his back and introduced with a smile, as for this person, just like you, he's an elder who joined the Shen family from the outside. He is Xiong Wandao, now an elder of the Shen immortal family's law enforcement hall. An elder of the law enforcement hall. Jiang Qingxian was slightly surprised and subconsciously looked at Elder Xiong. It seemed that this Elder Xiong was really trusted by the Shen immortal family. Otherwise, it was unlikely for an outsider to be the elder of the law enforcement hall. After all, everyone knew that places like the Hall of Importation and the Law Enforcement Hall were the core of a sect or family. People in these positions were definitely the core and most trusted group of people. At this moment, Elder Xiong seemed to have sensed Jiang Qingxuan's gaze and immediately smiled and nodded at him. Elder Jiang, when you have time, you must come and drink with me. His words were sincere. It was obvious that this Elder Xiong was friendly to Jiang Qingxian. It made sense. Any cultivator who could reach the Foundation establishment realm was not a fool. They would always try to make more friends, especially the ones with the same or higher realm. Who would be so stupid as to deliberately offend a cultivator of the same realm as them for no reason? Moreover, it was a cultivator like Jiang Qingxian who reached the Foundation establishment realm on his own. As they spoke, they arrived at a hall. Shen Daoming took out a token, a map, and a storage bag and smiled at Jiang Qingxian. Fellow Taoist Jiang, from now on, you're the guest elder of the Shen immortal family in the 9th Foundation establishment realm, elder of the Shen immortal family. Take this token that represents your identity. From now on, in the Shen immortal family, other than a few special areas, you can use this token to enter and leave as you please. As he spoke, he handed the storage bag to Jiang Qingxian. In this storage bag is your salary as a guest elder this year. There's a total of 550 spirit stones and some daily items. You can take a look later. As for this map. Shen Daoming handed the map to Jiang Qingxian. It includes all the empty level 2 cave abodes in the Shen immortal family. You can choose which cave abode you want on this map to use as a place to cultivate in the future. In addition, this map also marks the entire flat land county and some of the surrounding areas. In your free time, Elder Jiang, you can go and explore it yourself. After that, the few of them chatted for a while. Shen Daoming smiled and looked at Shen Ruyan. By the way, Ruyan, Elder Jiang just came to the Shen immortal family, so he is not very familiar with many places in the Shen immortal family. Why don't you show him around? Good. Shen Ruyan smiled and nodded. A while later. Shen Ruyan left the hall with Jiang Qingxian. Looking at the two of them disappear, Shen Daoming turned to look at the three people present and asked. Daofeng, cousin Rushuang, and Elder Xiong, what do you think of Jiang Qingxian? Shen Daofeng, who was dressed in green, nodded and said simply. Good. Shen Rushuang pondered for a moment before saying, I can't tell for the time being, but it should be fine to let him be the guest elder. In the end, Xiong Wandao chuckled. Leader Shen, why are you worrying so much? As time passes, we will naturally be able to tell what kind of a person he is. Are you afraid that he will elope with your sister? Hearing this, Shen Daoming couldn't help but laugh. He couldn't help but reach out and tap Xiong Wandao. Old Xiong, you just won't stop making fun of people. At the same time, Shen Ruiyan brought Jiang Qingxian around the entire Shen immortal family to familiarize him with the environment. Then, according to the map in Jiang Qingshuan's hand, she brought him to a few empty level 2 cave abodes to take a look. How is it? Elder Jiang, is there any cave abode you like? Jiang Qingxian looked at the map in his hand and thought for a moment before pointing at the most secluded area. Let's do it here. Shen Ruiyan looked surprised. Elder Jiang, are you really sure you want to choose this place? After all, this level 2 cave abode is not the best unoccupied level 2 cave abode the Shen immortal family has at the moment. Yes, I'm sure. I've made up my mind. Jiang Qingxian nodded firmly. Before he came, he had already thought it through. This time, he joined the Shen immortal family because he wanted to find a relatively stable cultivation environment for himself. He had just taken a look at the other cave abodes. Indeed. Those cave abodes were not bad. One or two of them could be said to be top grade. However, in Jiang Qingshuan's opinion, those cave abodes did not meet his requirements. To put it bluntly, it was not remote enough. Unlike the one Jiang Qingxian chose now, it was located in the deepest part of the Shen immortal family. It was also quite far from the other level 2 cave abodes, and most of the surrounding environment was still relatively primitive. Unless there was really something urgent, no one would come to disturb him. All right, then. Shen Ruiyan felt a little helpless. She did not expect Jiang Qingxian to choose such a place in the end. There were clearly other better cave abodes to choose from, but... Shen Ruiyan shook her head and said to Jiang Qingxian with a smile, in that case, I'll take you there. Okay, sorry to trouble you, Elder Ruiyan. In the Shen immortal family, it was obviously no longer appropriate for Jiang Qingxian to call Shen Ruiyan fellow Daoist Shen. There were so many people with the surname Shen, so calling her Elder Shen was not appropriate either. In the end, Shen Ruiyan asked Jiang Qingxian to call her by her name or just Ruiyan. However, after thinking about it, Jiang Qingxian decided to add a prefix before her name. Chapter 14. Going to the Sutra Depository. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment. After spending more than half a day, the two of them finally arrived at the cave abode Jiang Qingxian had chosen. Looking at the desolate environment, Jiang Qingxian couldn't help but nod in satisfaction. This was exactly the kind of place he wanted to choose. He ignored Shen Ruiyan's speechless gaze and took out the elder token from his body. After injecting his true essence, he pointed this token at the cave abode in front of him. Buzz! In an instant, the cave abode, which was originally shrouded in a hazy fog, immediately manifested, revealing a space of about 1,000 feet. Shen Ruiyan looked at Jiang Qingxian and said, Elder Jiang, since you've already chosen the cave abode, I won't stay any longer. As she spoke, she handed a formation plate to Jiang Qingxian. This is a level 2 protective formation plate. It can isolate the detection of the divine sense of others and block the attacks of Foundation establishment cultivators. Elder Jiang, you can set it up in your cave abode later. By the way. At this point, Shen Ruiyan seemed to have thought of something and continued to say to Jiang Qingxian. As for the level 2 cultivation technique and spell as well as the talisman book, you can take your elder token and go to the Shen family's sutra depository to choose for yourself later. With that, Shen Ruiyan nodded at Jiang Qingxian again and turned into a streak of light, flying into the distance. About half a day later, the cave abode was finally cleaned up by Jiang Qingxian. He took out the items from his storage bag one by one. Soon, a bed, table, chair, tea set, bookshelf, and a few spiritual flowers and herbs that emitted spiritual chi appeared in the cave abode. The originally empty cave abode immediately became more like a living place. Then, Jiang Qingxian activated the level 2 protective array plate given to him by Shen Ruiyan and set it up in his cave abode. In an instant, a circle of light blue light flashed and disappeared. Jiang Qingxian knew that this array was called the Inner Water Heavenly Spirit Array. It was a very common level 2 defensive array. The core material of the array foundation was a low-grade level 2 treasure called the water crystal stone. Using it to block some ordinary level 2 spells was probably not a problem. However, if it were those relatively powerful level 2 spells, this protective array would probably not be able to withstand it. However, if someone could attack all the way to his cave abode, the entire Shin immortal family would probably already be on the verge of demise. At that time, not to mention this low-grade level 2 inner water heavenly spirit array, even a high-grade level 2 defensive array would be useless. The real use of this inner water heavenly spirit array was probably to create a private space for the elders. Firstly, it could be used to block the prying eyes of others. Secondly, it was more or less intended as a sign of respect to the elders. After all, if a dignified Foundation Establishment realm elder did not even have a protective array in his cave abode, wouldn't it be too shabby? Moreover, all cultivators cared about their privacy. After cleaning the cave abode, Jiang Qingxian sat cross-legged on a cushion. As soon as he circulated the origin returning technique in his body, an extremely rich spiritual qi immediately entered his body. This was something he had never felt before. As expected of a level 2 cave abode. The density and quantity of spiritual qi was not something those level 1 cave abodes could compare to. Jiang Qingxian cultivated for a while before opening his eyes. However, the origin returning technique he was cultivating was clearly no longer suitable for his realm. He had to change to a level 2 cultivation technique. At the thought of this, Jiang Qingxian decided that tomorrow, he would go to the Shin immortal family's sutra depository and choose a Foundation Establishment cultivation technique that was suitable for him to practice next. At the same time, on the main peak in the mountain, the head, Shen Daoming, couldn't help but look a little stunned when he heard Shen Ruiyan's report. This elder Jiang is really interesting. Shen Ruiyan shook her head speechlessly. Brother, why do I feel that he just wants to be alone and does not want anyone to look for him? Shen Daoming couldn't help but smile when he heard that. You're right. Elder Jiang seems to be such a person. However, it's fine. As long as he doesn't betray the Shin immortal family and is not a demonic cultivator, let him be. At this point, Shen Daoming couldn't help but glance at Shen Ruiyan and smile. This time, you recruited Elder Jiang to the Shin immortal family. According to your contribution, you should be able to obtain a void cleansing pill. Go and talk to Elder Sun later. Ask him to go to the Ganyang market to take your place. Stay here and try to break through to the 4th level of the Foundation Establishment realm. Okay. Shen Ruiyan nodded. The next day, Jiang Qingxian left the cave abode and went straight to the sutra depository of the Shin immortal family. The person in charge of the Shin family's sutra depository was an old Foundation Establishment cultivator. His name was Shin Changyan. It was said that he was already more than 170 years old and was at the 7th level of the Foundation Establishment realm. With his age, it was obvious that his cultivation path had come to an end. It was impossible for him to break through to the Violet Palace realm. Therefore, he took the initiative to come to the Sutra Depository to guide the juniors who came here to study. In the entire Shin family, he was well respected. At this moment, when he saw Jiang Qingxian coming over, a kind smile immediately appeared on his face. Yesterday, I heard that a young talent joined the Shin immortal family. I think it should be you, right? You're indeed young and promising. I think you have a lot of hope of breaking through to the Violet Palace realm in the future. Obviously, Shin Changyan did not notice that Jiang Qingxian had taken the life-extending fruit. He thought that he was a cultivator who had reached the Foundation Establishment realm before the age of 50. When he heard Shin Changyan's words, he immediately smiled and shook his head. Elder Shen, you flatter me. I was just lucky. In the cultivation world, having good luck is a kind of ability. The fact that you can successfully reach the Foundation Establishment realm on your own already explains a lot. By the way, At this point, Shen Changyan finally thought of something and couldn't help but shake his head with a smile. You came this time to choose a cultivation technique, right? Look at me, I almost forgot about this. Shen Changyan continued, Elder Jiang, if you want to choose a level 2 cultivation technique, you can go straight to the second floor. There are not only level 2 cultivation techniques there, but also level 2 spells. After choosing what you want, you just have to register it. However, before all that, I have to give this to you first. As soon as he finished speaking, Shen Changyan handed a jade slip to Jiang Qingxian. Chapter 15. 5 Elements True Technique, The Divine Light of the Arctic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After taking the jade slip, Jiang Qingxian realized there were actually level 2 talismans making methods carved on the jade slip. In addition, there were also some things to pay attention to when making level 2 talismans. It was pretty comprehensive. He smiled and thanked Shen Changyan. After exchanging a few more pleasantries with Shen Changyan, he walked into the Sutra Depository. After walking into the Sutra Depository, Jiang Qingxian realized how deep the foundation of the Violet Palace immortal family was. As far as he could see, there were no less than 100 level 1 cultivation techniques and spells. They were all displayed on rows of shelves in the form of jade slips. He picked up a few jade slips and skimmed through them. He realized that all the cultivation techniques or spells that could be kept here all had their own uniqueness. It was definitely not something those common goods outside could compare to. He arrived at the second floor. The number of jade slips here was obviously much fewer than downstairs. However, there were also dozens of them. Moreover, every jade slip was protected by a certain kind of restriction. Without a specific item to lift the restriction, once it was touched, the array formation here would be activated to attack the stealer. Jiang Qingxian took out his token and lifted the restriction on the cultivation technique jade slip he wanted to read. After browsing through it, Jiang Qingxian really found a few level 2 cultivation techniques that were suitable for him. For example, the Dark Origin Spirit Technique, the Evergreen True Technique, and so on. Just as Jiang Qingxian was wondering which cultivation technique he should choose, the system's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding! An achievement mission has been issued. Host, please complete the cultivation of the 5 Elements True Technique 100 times. 5 Elements True Technique. Jiang Qingxian was stunned for a moment before he realized what this 5 Elements True Technique was. This was also a level 2 cultivation technique kept in the Sutra Depository. However, this 5 Elements True Technique. To put it nicely, it was a moderate and neutral cultivation technique that was quite inclusive. Coupled with the fact that it contained the spiritual power of the 5 elements, it was actually more suitable for him, a cultivator with false spiritual roots. Moreover, with the characteristics of this cultivation technique, after he broke through to the Violet Palace realm in the future, it would not be a problem for him to change to other cultivation techniques. This 5 Elements True Technique sounded quite good, right? If you really thought that way, you would be very wrong. To put it nice, it was moderate and neutral, but to put it bluntly, it was boring and lacked uniqueness. Other than having the attributes of 5 elements, there was nothing special about the true essence he cultivated from this technique. It was not as sharp as a metal element cultivation technique, nor was it as explosive as a fire element cultivation technique, nor was it as vigorous as an earth element cultivation technique. It could be said to be ordinary. It was not particularly helpful in increasing one's strength. There was once a genius with peerless cultivation potential. He did not believe the rumors about this technique and used it to cultivate to the nascent soul realm. Only then did he realize with extreme regret that he was far inferior to cultivators of the same realm in terms of magic power and divine power. He could be said to be the weakest nascent soul cultivator. Fortunately, the 5 Elements True Technique had a high compatibility. Seeing it was as useless as rumor said, the nascent soul realm cultivator finally gave up on the 5 Elements True Technique and started to cultivate other cultivation techniques. It was also because of this that the five elements true technique had a special name from then on. It was called the most ordinary cultivation technique. Now, the system wanted him to complete 100 cultivation sessions of the five elements true technique. What is this supposed to mean? Could it be that the system was playing a joke on him? Or was there really something special about this five elements true technique that had not been discovered? In any case, if Jiang Qingxian had to choose, he would definitely not choose such a cultivation technique. He was not so arrogant as to think that his talent and potential were higher than that of the nascent soul cultivator back then. However, now that the system had given him such a mission, no matter what, he had to bite the bullet and complete it. Jiang Qingxian took the five elements true technique jade slip before going to choose a level 2 spell. With the perfection spell inheritance jade given to him by the system, he only had one requirement for the level 2 spell he was going to choose, and that was power. As everyone knew, the more powerful a spell was, the more difficult it was to master it. However, this was not a problem for Jiang Qingxian. Soon, Jiang Qingxian took a fancy to 3 level 2 spells. They were the low-grade level 2 spell, the Golden Mystic Light Sword, the low-grade level 2 spell, the Scarlet Flame Burning Heaven Saber, and the mid-grade level 2 spell, the Divine Light of the Arctic. When the first two were cultivated to the perfection, one could create 100 black gold sword chi, and the other could condense chi into a saber that was 100 feet long. They both had the power to severely injure and even kill mid-stage foundation establishment realm cultivators. As for the Divine Light of the Arctic, once cultivated to perfection, it could emit an extremely cold light that was enough to freeze the body and soul of a late-stage foundation establishment realm cultivator. Moreover, this spell was silent and almost impossible to guard against. It could be said to be one of the most powerful level 2 spells. The only problem was that it was extremely difficult to master and cultivate it to perfection. It was almost impossible for people who were not talented and didn't have excellent comprehension to cultivate it to a high level. Jiang Qingxian thought about it carefully and finally chose this mid-grade level 2 spell, the Divine Light of the Arctic. It was not that there was no higher level spell here than the Divine Light of the Arctic. However, the problem was that with his current cultivation at the first level of the foundation establishment realm, even if he was given a high-grade level 2 spell, he would not have enough true essence to activate it. Instead of that, he might as well choose a powerful spell that he could use first. Otherwise, it would be very embarrassing if he didn't know any spells when someone confronted him. With the five elements true technique jade slip and the Divine Light of the Arctic in hand, Jiang Qingxian returned to Shenchangyan not long after. Seeing Jiang Qingxian return, Shenchangyan asked with a smile, "Elder Jiang, have you done choosing what you want?" "Yeah." Jiang Qingxian smiled and handed 2 jade slips to Shenchangyan. Shenchangyan looked at the jade slips, then at Jiang Qingxian in surprise. "Elder Jiang, are you sure you want to choose them?" "Yes, they'll do." Jiang Qingxian smiled and nodded. Shenchangyan did not say anything and helped Jiang Qingxian register. Then, he handed the jade slips back to Jiang Qingxian. "Elder Jiang, when you go back and open the jade slip will make you swear an oath not to spread the contents. This is something you have to pay attention to. Other than that, there is nothing." Chapter 16. Yin Yang 5 Elements Spiritual Root. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thank you for your reminder, Elder Shen. Jiang Qingxian smiled and thanked him. However, inside, he was a little surprised. Originally, he thought that when Shenchangyan saw that he had chosen the 5 elements true technique and the Divine Light of the Arctic, he would more or less say something. He thought that Shenchangyan might even persuade him to choose something else instead of the 5 elements true technique. In the end, he did not say anything and only reminded Jiang Qingxian. Jiang Qingxian had even thought of a reason to explain just now. In the end, he didn't need to use it. It was not until he returned to his cave abode with the jade slip that he understood. Cultivation techniques and spells were the most private things for cultivators. It was a huge taboo to probe. Unless your relationship with each other was extremely good. Otherwise, people might take offense. Shen Changnian had lived for more than 170 years, so he naturally knew this basic unspoken rule between cultivators. After understanding this, Jiang Qingxian did not dwell on this anymore. Instead, he focused all his attention on the jade slips. According to what Shen Changnian reminded him previously, if he wanted to cultivate the 5 elements true technique and the divine light of the Arctic, the first thing he had to do was to swear an oath that he would not spread these techniques. He gently placed the jade slip on his forehead. Immediately, a message appeared in Jiang Qingshuan's mind. To cultivate this technique, one has to make a mental oath with their Tao heart before they can see the complete content. Seeing this, Jiang Qingxian immediately swore with his Tao heart that he would not impart this technique to anyone. At the same time, the layer of restriction that was branded on this jade slip immediately disappeared. What appeared in Jiang Qingshuan's mind was the complete content of the 5 elements true technique. He tried to cultivate. Jiang Qingxian was surprised to find that this 5 elements true technique was indeed one of the most moderate cultivation techniques. In just a few days, Jiang Qingxian had already familiarized himself with this cultivation technique. Then, he started to cultivate this technique according to the system's instruction. Because he was a guest elder, the Shen immortal family would not assign Jiang Qingxian any mandatory family missions. Unless the Shen family was in dire danger, Jiang Qingxian could stay in his cave abode as long as he wanted. However, if he didn't do anything, he wouldn't be able to get anything other than his annual salary. Therefore, if he wanted to obtain cultivation resources, he still had to take on some missions. Of course, if he wanted to travel outside and find ways to obtain cultivation resources, the Shen immortal family would not stop him either. It was all up to him. Jiang Qingxian naturally would not choose a peaceful life. If he really wanted a peaceful life, he would not choose the Shen immortal family. Instead, he would find a safe place, or even a mortal city, where he would marry a lot of wives and have a lot of children. However, before he completed the system's mission and cultivated the divine light of the Arctic to perfection, he would not choose to go out at this time or take on any missions. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, a year passed. On this day, Jiang Qingxian had just finished circulating the 5 elements true technique. At this moment, a long-lost system notification suddenly sounded. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have completed the mission of cultivating the 5 elements true technique 100 times. You have obtained the Yin-Yang 5 elements spiritual root. The Yin-Yang 5 elements spiritual roots are respectively the Yang wood spiritual root, the Yin wood spiritual root, the Yang fire spiritual root, the Yin fire spiritual root, the Yang earth spiritual root, the Yin earth spiritual root, the Yang metal spiritual root, the Yin metal spiritual root, the Yang water spiritual root, and the Yin water spiritual root. They are also known as the 10 spiritual roots. This is the best aptitude for cultivating the 5 elements true technique. There were 5 Yang elements spiritual roots and 5 Yin elements spiritual roots. Most of the time, the so-called false spiritual roots were caused by the imbalance of Yin and Yang. Cultivators like Jiang Qingxian who had false spiritual roots tended to have more Yin or more Yang in their body. The imbalance of Yin and Yang would make it twice as difficult to cultivate. This was the reason why false spiritual roots was considered a low-grade aptitude. In addition, there were also the 5-element pure Yang spiritual root and the 5-element pure Yin spiritual root, which were considered excellent cultivation aptitudes. However, cultivators with such aptitudes needed to cultivate corresponding 5-element pure Yang technique or 5-element pure Yin technique to bring out the maximum potential. Unfortunately, in the current 9 essences immortal cultivation world, there were almost no cultivation sects and families that had such a cultivation technique. Therefore, In the current cultivation world, the 5-element pure yang spirit root aptitude and the 5-element pure yin spirit root aptitude were actually considered the lowest grade spiritual roots. This information was instilled into Jiang Qingxian by the system after it gave him the yin-yang 5-element spiritual root. Now that he had the best aptitude for cultivating the 5 elements true technique, he did not know how different it would be from before if he cultivated it now. At this thought, Jiang Qingxian closed his eyes and tried to circulate his true essence. Half a month later, Jiang Qingxian opened his eyes in surprise. He realized that at this moment, the 5 elements true technique he cultivated was different in nature from the one before. First of all, the quantity and quality of his true essence was already more than 3 times that of before. It was almost equivalent to the quantity and quality of an ordinary third-level foundation establishment realm cultivator. Moreover, it would continue to increase as his cultivation increased. In addition, the true essence he cultivated through the 5 elements true technique could at least increase the power of 5-element spells he cast by 1 to 2 times. This was unimaginable in the past. Normally, cultivation techniques could at most increase the power of the spells of the same nature by half. For Jiang Qingxian, it was double. This was simply insane. Moreover, he had a feeling that what he had discovered now was probably only a part of it. There should be something special that he had yet to discover. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. At this moment, Jiang Qingxian could no longer hold back his excitement and immediately laughed out loud in his cave abode. Chapter 17. Mission I. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few days later, a white light flashed across the rock wall of Jiang Qingxuan's cave abode. In an instant, the rock wall was immediately covered in a terrifying frost. The temperature of the entire cave abode instantly plummeted. In such an environment, even with Jiang Qingxuan's cultivation, he still felt a bone-chilling cold. Moreover, he had the feeling that his divine sense was about to be frozen, and there was a stabbing pain. One could imagine what kind of terrifying scene would occur if that white light had landed on someone. This was the first level 2 spell that Jiang Qingxian had mastered so far. It was also the only spell that he had cultivated to perfection. The divine light of the Arctic. That's right, this was the effect achieved by the perfection spell Inheritance Jade. Once the spell was cast, even a late-stage foundation establishment realm cultivator would be severely injured. The only problem was that this divine light of the Arctic consumed a lot of true essence. With the amount of true essence he cultivated through yin, yang 5 elements true technique, he could at most cast it twice. Unless he had no choice, Jiang Qingxian would not use it casually. However, even without using the divine light of the Arctic, with the strength of Jiang Qingxuan's true essence and the mid-grade level 2 Dharma artifact, the purple flame sword, he could even fight a mid-stage foundation establishment realm cultivator neck to neck. From then on, Jiang Qingxian finally had some foundation and abilities to protect himself in the foundation establishment realm. Next, Jiang Qingxian calmed down and continued cultivating. In the blink of an eye, another 2 years passed. In the past 2 years, Jiang Qingxian had pushed his cultivation to the bottleneck of the first level of the foundation establishment realm. This speed was not inferior to that of cultivators with heaven's spiritual roots. In fact, it was even better. Under normal circumstances, it would take at least 7 or 8 years for a cultivator who had just reached the foundation establishment realm to reach the bottleneck of the first level. For those who were even slower, it might take as many as 10 years. Then there was the jade slip with the making method of level 2 talismans carved on it. In his spare time, Jiang Qingxian did not forget to study it. He tried to draw some of the talismans. For example, a high-grade level 1 golden sword talisman, a high-grade level 1 wood armor talisman, and a high-grade level 1 explosive flame talisman. He successfully drew them all. On the other hand, the low-grade level 2 talismans. For example, a low-grade level 2 rejuvenation talisman, a low-grade level 2 cleave talisman, and a low-grade level 2 spirit gathering talisman. Jiang Qingxian tried to draw it many times, but he did not succeed once. Therefore, he understood that his accumulation in talisman making was probably not enough. He needed more time to study it. Unfortunately, practicing making talismans required huge resources. At least with Jiang Qingshuan's current situation, there was no way he could continue his practice. He had to go out and seek more resources. In addition, he had encountered a bottleneck in his cultivation recently. It was about time for him to go out. Therefore, Jiang Qingxian lifted the restriction of the cave abode, took out the purple flame sword, and flew towards the core area of the Shen immortal family. After flying for a distance, Jiang Qingxian suddenly saw a beam of light heading towards the core area of the Shen immortal family not far from him. The light seemed to have seen Jiang Qingxian, so it changed directions in midair and flew straight at him. When the light flew closer, Jiang Qingxian saw that it was none other than Shen Ruyan, who he was more familiar with. However, compared to 3 years ago, Shen Ruyan's aura was obviously much stronger. Did she break through? As soon as this thought flashed across his mind, Shen Ruyan revealed herself and smiled at Jiang Qingxian. Elder Jiang, long time no see. How have you been? Jiang Qingxian smiled and nodded. Not bad. On the other hand, Elder Ruyan, after not seeing you for so long, you seem to have made a breakthrough in your cultivation. It's really worth celebrating. Hee, you flatter me, Elder Jiang. Shen Ruyan was obviously in a very good mood. Hearing that, she smiled at Jiang Qingxian and continued. By the way, Elder Jiang, where are you planning to go? Hearing this, Jiang Qingxian did not hide it. Instead, he smiled and replied, I plan to go to the mission hall to take a look and see if there are any suitable missions to take on. Oh. Do you want a mission? Shen Ruyan's eyes lit up slightly. Then, she said to Jiang Qingxian, I happen to know that there is a good mission recently and am thinking about finding someone to do it with me. Elder Jiang, are you interested? Jiang Qingxian looked at Shen Ruyan in confusion and couldn't help but ask, Elder Ruyan, can you tell me in detail about the mission you mentioned? Of course. Shen Ruyan smiled and nodded. Let's talk as we walk to the mission hall. I haven't accepted that mission yet. Elder Jiang, after listening to it, if you're willing to do it with me, we'll accept that mission together. Then, Shen Ruyan told Jiang Qingxian generally what the mission was about. It turned out. Not long ago, outside a city called Canyon City within the jurisdiction of the Shen immortal family, a few level 2 demon beasts appeared out of nowhere. They often attacked people who entered and left Canyon City. So far, hundreds of mortals had died. Some time ago, they led hundreds of level 1 demon beasts to attack Canyon City. Fortunately, Canyon City was protected by a level 2 array, so nothing tragic had happened. However, in this way, the entire Canyon City was basically under siege. After all, in the entire Canyon City, the cultivator with the highest cultivation was only at the perfected Qi refinement realm. They could only rely on the level 2 defensive array in Canyon City to withstand the attacks of those level 2 and level 1 demon beasts. Therefore, yesterday, Canyon City sent a request for help to the Shen immortal family, asking them to send Foundation establishment cultivators to kill those demon beasts. After hearing Shen Ruyan's description of this mission, Jiang Qingshuan's first reaction was suspicion, wondering if there was a conspiracy behind this. After all, why would a few level 2 demon beasts suddenly appear outside Canyon City with a group of level 1 demon beasts? No matter how he thought about it, this matter seemed strange. There were many things that did not make sense. Jiang Qingxian was a person who wanted to be safe and did not like to take risks. Therefore, his second reaction was that he definitely could not expose himself to such a dangerous situation. However, at this moment, the system's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Chapter 18. Mission 2, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. An achievement mission has been issued. Host, please complete the first kill of the level 2 demon beast as soon as possible. Jiang Qingxian was speechless. Just as he was about to reject Shen Ruiyan's invitation, the system gave him such a mission. Moreover, the system wanted him to complete it as soon as possible. Speaking of which, what was as soon as possible supposed to mean? As if it had heard Jiang Qingxuan's thoughts, the system replied directly. Host, please complete this mission within 3 days. Otherwise, it will be considered a failure. 3 days. Jiang Qingxian was a little speechless. The system was basically asking him to complete that mission with Shen Ruiyan. After all, in such a short time, where could he find a level 2 demon beast for him to kill? Even if there was, he did not dare to go without knowing the situation. At the thought of this, Jiang Qingxian looked at Shen Ruiyan and said, Elder Ruiyan, have you found out why those demon beasts appeared outside Canyon City? I don't know it yet. Shen Ruiyan shook her head. Finding out the reason is probably also a part of our mission this time. As long as we find out the reason, even if we can't eliminate those demon beasts, we should be able to get a lot of family contribution points. Family contribution point was an internal mechanism unique to the Shen Immortal family. Anyone from the Shen Immortal family could use the contribution points to exchange for resources. From cultivation techniques to medicinal pills, from Dharma artifacts to precious materials, as long as it was something the Shen Immortal family had, it could be exchanged with family contribution points. Most importantly, the cultivation resources in the hands of a Violet Palace Immortal family like the Shen Immortal family were simply beyond the reach of some independent cultivators in the outside world. Even if you had enough spirit stones, you might not be able to buy them. This was also the greatest advantage family and sect cultivators had over those independent cultivators. At this moment, Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruiyan had already arrived at the mission hall. When some of the disciples of the Shen Immortal family saw the two of them, they bowed respectfully. There were all kinds of ways to address Shen Ruiyan. Some called her first aunt, some called her second aunt, and some called her Elder Ruiyan. However, there was one kind of way to address Jiang Qingxian. That was Elder Jiang. Clearly, in 3 years, many disciples of the Shen Immortal family knew that there was an elder with the surname Jiang in their family. He greeted these juniors. Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruiyan quickly arrived at the place where missions were issued and taken. Shen Ruiyan took a jade slip and checked it. Then, she turned to Jiang Qingxian and said, I got it. This is the mission. Elder Jiang, you can take a look first. As she spoke, she handed the mission jade slip to Jiang Qingxian. Jiang Qingxian took it with a smile and placed it on his forehead. Soon, he read the relevant mission information. It was not much different from what Shen Ruiyan had told him previously. The only thing worth mentioning was the reward for this mission. As long as he completed it, he would receive 1,000 family contribution points. Even if he could only find out the reason, he could still receive 400 family contribution points. In total, it was 1,400 family contribution points. What kind of concept was 1,400 family contribution points? If it was purely used to exchange for spirit stones, it would be a total of 1,400 spirit stones. However, family contribution points were far more precious than spirit stones. No one was stupid enough to use the family contribution points to exchange for spirit stones. If this example didn't make it clear enough, then let's take Dharma artifacts, pills, and resources as examples. Normally speaking, a low-grade level 2 Dharma artifact was worth about 600 to 800 spirit stones. However, if you used the family contribution points to exchange for it, you would not need so many. Anything exchanged with family contribution points would be 20 to 30% cheaper than outside. In other words, a low-grade level 2 Dharma artifact was worth about 400 to 600 family contribution points. This 1,400 family contribution points was enough for you to buy 2 to 3 low-grade level 2 Dharma artifacts. And this was not counting the cultivation gains from killing demon beasts. Even with Jiang Qingxuan's cautious personality, he could not help but be tempted by such a generous reward, even though he knew that this reward would have to be split up into two. However, even if it was split into two, it was enough for him to exchange for a low-grade level 2 Dharma artifact from the Shin immortal family. How is it? Elder Jiang, do you want to do this mission with me? At this moment, Shen Ruiyan turned to Jiang Qingxian and asked with a smile. Jiang Qingxian pondered for a moment before nodding. Sure, but how should we split the reward? Jiang Qingxian felt that he had to make things clear in advance. He didn't want them to fall out because of this. He had been in the cultivation world for more than 100 years and had seen too many similar things. Therefore, even though he knew that saying this would make him seem petty, he had to mention it. Shen Ruiyan had obviously thought about this long ago. When she heard Jiang Qingshuan's words, she immediately smiled and replied, "It's just the two of us. How about we split it half and half?" If that was the case, it was obvious that she wanted to help Jiang Qingxian. After all, on the surface, Shen Ruiyan's cultivation was at the 4th level of the Foundation Establishment realm while Jiang Qingxian was at the 1st level of the Foundation Establishment realm. One was in the middle stage, and the other was in the early stage. Without thinking, it was obvious that Jiang Qingxian was the one who benefited should the reward be split equally. Jiang Qingxian did not decline her kindness. When he heard that, he immediately nodded. Alright, when do we set off? He was obviously still thinking about the mission given to him by the system. It would naturally be best if they could set off as soon as possible. Tomorrow morning. I'll meet you here tomorrow morning. What do you think? Shen Ruiyan thought for a moment and replied with a smile. However, Jiang Qingxian shook his head. I think we should set off now. The sooner we handle it, the better. That way, not only can the people in Canyon City be at ease, but we can also avoid some possible variables that may occur. After all, neither of us can guarantee that nothing will happen to the array in Canyon City. Chapter 19. Arrival in Canyon City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shen Ruiyan clearly did not expect Jiang Qingxian to say that. Hearing this, she couldn't help but be surprised at first. Then, she smiled and nodded. Elder Jiang, you are right. In that case, let's not delay any longer. Initially, she wanted Jiang Qingxian to make some preparations. However, since Jiang Qingxian said so, she was more than happy to agree. Moreover, she felt that what Jiang Qingxian said made sense. The longer they waited, the more variables there would be. If something really happened that even they could not solve, things would really be serious. Therefore, after Jiang Qingxian and Shen Ruiyan accepted that mission together, without lingering, they left the mission hall and flew out of the Shen immortal family. It was about 10,000 miles from the Shen immortal family to Canyon City. In less than half a day, the two of them arrived in the sky above Canyon City. However, as soon as the two of them arrived, they saw dozens of level 1 demon beasts attacking the protective array. Although the attacks of these level 1 demon beasts could not cause any substantial damage to the low-grade level 2 defensive array. However, in the long run, it would be a huge burden on the Qi refinement cultivators in the city. After all, maintaining such a low-grade level 2 defensive array required a lot of energy and resources. Once their true essence was exhausted, or the spirit stones in the city were used up, this level 2 defensive array would crumble in no time. Most importantly, in the face of such a situation, they could not counterattack at all. Not to mention whether the Qi refinement realm cultivators in the city could deal with the siege of dozens of level 1 demon beasts. Even if they could, once they left the city, the level 2 demon beasts lurking in the dark might launch a sneak attack on them. At that time, none of the Qi refinement cultivators outside could return alive. After understanding the urgency of the situation, a trace of coldness flashed across Shen Ruiyan's eyes. Without a word, she pointed her slender fingers down. In an instant, silver-white lightning struck. Boom, boom, boom. It was like a cannonball razing the ground. In the blink of an eye, the dozens of level 1 demon beasts that were originally besieging Canyon City instantly turned into charcoal. Jiang Qingshuan's eyes narrowed. Lightning spell. He really did not expect Shenruyan, who looked unharmful, to master such a domineering spell. As everyone knew, lightning spells were the most powerful among all the spells. It was also the most difficult to cultivate and master. Without an extraordinary aptitude or a constitution suitable for practicing lightning spells, it was quite difficult for ordinary people to cultivate lightning spells to Shenruyan's level. As if knowing that Jiang Qingxian had questions to ask, Shenruyan couldn't help but turn to look at him and explain. That was the Shen family's level 2 lightning falling spell just now. Because I have a lightning spiritual root, I'm good with lightning spells. I can cast it immediately without needing to form it. Lightning spiritual root. Jiang Qingxian really did not expect Shenruyan's spiritual root to be a lightning spiritual root. Under normal circumstances, a cultivator's spiritual root was usually of the 5 elements. The difference was the ratio of the 5 attributes. Spiritual root with a single element was called a heavenly spiritual root. It was an excellent aptitude for cultivation. However, other than that, there would also be some spiritual roots outside the domain of the 5 elements. For example, Shenruyan's lightning spiritual root, wind spiritual root, ice spiritual root, and so on. These spiritual roots that were not of the 5 elements were collectively called mutant spiritual roots. Cultivators with such spiritual roots were second only to the heavenly spiritual root in terms of cultivation potential. Most of them could successfully cultivate all the way to the Violet Palace realm. If they had a huge opportunity, great perseverance, and great comprehension, they would have a high chance of breaking through to the Golden Core realm. At this moment, the cultivators in the city had already noticed Jiang Qingxian and Shenruyan in the air. They immediately shouted excitedly. It's Foundation Establishment Realm seniors from the Shen family. The Shen family really sent people to help us. Quick, lift the array. Hearing the cheers of the people in the city below, Jiang Qingxian and Shenruyan, who were in the sky above Canyon City, were not in a hurry to enter the city. At this moment, they were all looking into the distance outside the city. There, they sensed the aura of a level 2 demon beast. However, after thinking for a moment, they chose not to fly over immediately. Instead, they flew into Canyon City together. The city lord of Canyon City, Shen Chuanhai, immediately led a group of qi refinement cultivators over. This person was appointed to guard the city by the Shen immortal family. He was already 76 years old and had a cultivation at the perfected stage of qi refinement. Clearly, he had no hope of advancing on the path of the Tao. Be no eldem at this moment, he said enthusiastically but respectfully, Elders, thank you for helping us deal with the demon beasts outside the city just now. You must be travel-worn. Why don't you come to my mansion to rest for a while? Hearing his words, Jiang Qingxian and Shenruyan had no objections. Soon, the group arrived at his residence in Canyon City. After the people in the mansion brought over snacks and spiritual tea, Shenruyan turned to look at Shen Chuanhai. City Lord Chuanhai, tell us in detail what exactly is going on. By the way, my name is Shenruyan. You can call me Elder Ruyan. As for the person beside me, he's the Shen family's guest elder, Jiang Qingxian. You can call him Elder Jiang. As she spoke, Shenruyan picked up the spiritual tea and took a sip. Shen Chuanhai immediately told the two of them about the current situation in Canyon City. The situation was similar to what the two of them already knew. However, there was something that attracted the attention of Jiang Qingxian and Shenruyan. Last night, dozens of kilometers away from Canyon City, a soaring spiritual light appeared and lasted for about 5 minutes. During these 5 minutes, there seemed to be a commotion among the demon beasts in the distance. Shen Chuanhai and the cultivators in Canyon City did not know what was going on. However, this morning, dozens of level 1 demon beasts began to attack Canyon City until they were eradicated by Jiang Qingxian and Shenruyan. Jiang Qingxian and Shenrian were also confused by this phenomenon. However, they instinctively felt that the reason why demon beasts above level 2 appeared here this time might be related to the abnormal phenomenon last night. At the thought of this, Shenrian immediately turned to Jiang Qingxian and said, "Elder Jiang, why don't we go to that place to take a look tonight?" Just as Jiang Qingxian was about to answer, someone suddenly rushed in with a flustered expression. Not good. Those demon beasts, they came again. So many of them. Chapter 20. Scarlet Flame Scorpion Snake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Hearing this, the city lord, Shen Chuanhai, was the first to stand up. What exactly is going on? Tell me clearly. The person seemed to be a little frightened by Shen Chuanhai's aura, but he still braced himself and replied, "City lord, I don't know what's going on either. I only know that hundreds of demon beasts suddenly came, and there are 3 level 2 demon beasts." What? Shen Chuanhai's expression immediately changed drastically. Jiang Qingxian and Shenrian also looked at each other with solemn expressions. 3 level 2 demon beasts suddenly attacked Canyon City with hundreds of level 1 demon beasts. There was clearly something unusual going on. Elders. At this moment, Shen Chuanhai turned to look at Jiang Qingxian and Shenrian. He hesitated for a moment before saying, "The situation is urgent now. I wonder if the 2 of you can come with us to check the situation together. If anything happens, I'm afraid I'll need your help. Let's go." Jiang Qingxian and Shenrian did not waste a second. They knew very well that once those demon beasts really started attacking Canyon City, the 2 of them might not be in any fatal danger. However, the hundreds of thousands of mortals in Canyon City and the chi refinement cultivators among them could hardly survive. This was obviously a loss the Shen immortal family could not accept. Therefore, not long after, Jiang Qingxian, Shenrian, Shen Chuanhai, and the others appeared on the city wall of Canyon City. Fortunately, the cultivators here reacted quickly. When they sensed that danger was approaching, they immediately activated the level 2 defensive array in the city. The person in charge of the array was a 9th level chi refinement cultivator called Gu Qingyang. Other than the city lord, Shen Chuanhai, he was the only cultivator who had perfected the chi refinement realm. However, at this moment, he did not seem to be in a good state. Not only was his face pale, but the true essence in his body was also dissipating, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Clearly, this 9th level chi refinement cultivator was already seriously injured. "Brother Gu, how are you? Are you all right?" Seeing this, Shen Chuanhai immediately asked with concern. At the same time, he took over the job of maintaining the array from Gu Qingyang. Gu Qingyang quickly took out a medicinal pill from his pocket and swallowed it. After a while, he forced a smile. "I'm fine for now. However, the situation in Canyon City is really not optimistic." As he spoke, he looked out of the city. At this moment, outside Canyon City, hundreds of level 1 demon beasts were crazily attacking the defensive array, causing it to array halo flicker. Behind these level 1 demon beasts stood 3 demon beasts with scorpion heads and snake bodies. Each of them was about 5 to 6 meters long. Its upper body was covered in a metal dot-like shell, and 2 pairs of huge red pincers opened and closed, emitting a sound like metal plates rubbing against each other. The snake body on its lower body kept squirming back and forth. As the huge tail swept across, it created a huge crack in the ground. It was the Scarlet Flame Scorpion Snake. Roar! Suddenly, the 3 level 2 Scarlet Flame Scorpion snakes roared impatiently. They suddenly flew into the air in unison and attacked Canyon City. In an instant, balls of fire with scorching heat immediately shot out of their huge pincers. When it landed on the level 2 defensive array, ripples immediately spread out on the surface of the array. Shen Chuanhai, who was in charge of sustaining the array, immediately turned pale. This kind of attack from the Foundation establishment realm was still too much of a burden for him. Moreover, it was not just one snack attacking, but three. Coupled with the attacks of the other level 1 demon beasts, Shen Chuanhai couldn't hold on much longer. His forehead was already covered in cold sweat. Elder Jiang, stay here and watch. I'll go out and play with them. At this moment, Shen Ruiyan turned to look at Jiang Qingxian. Jiang Qingxian hesitated for a moment before nodding. Alright, then Elder Ruiyan, be careful. If you can't fight them alone, don't force yourself. Okay. Shen Ruiyan nodded. Then, she turned into a bolt of lightning and instantly left the defensive array of Canyon City. Before the demon beasts outside could react, a rumbling thunder suddenly sounded in the air. Immediately after, silver-white lightning struck down. Dozens of the level 1 demon beasts that were attacking Canyon City crazily were instantly charred. Dozens of demon beasts were seriously injured. In their panic, they actually started to run around, causing the entire demon beast group to fall into chaos. Shen Ruiyan did not waste time on these lowly creatures. In a flash, she was already in front of the 3 level 2 scarlet flame scorpion snakes. Buzz! She pointed with her fair hand. A seal flickering with silver lightning suddenly appeared on the heads of the 3 scarlet flame scorpion snakes. It was Shen Ruiyan's mid-grade level 2 Dharma artifact, the lightning strike seal. Rumble. The 3 scarlet flame scorpion snakes were dazzled by bright light. Then, a terrifying thunderclap sounded in their ears. 3 dazzling lightning bolts landed on them. In an instant, angry and painful roars shook the earth. One of the scarlet flame scorpion snakes was charred. The hard carapace and the scales on the snake's body turned to charcoal. On the other hand, the other 2 scarlet flame scorpion snakes didn't seem to have suffered that much from the lightning bolt. It only charred a little bit of their skins. At this moment, among the 3 scarlet flame scorpion snakes, the largest one flashed, and with a deafening cry, it arrived in front of Shen Ruiyan. Shen Ruiyan obviously did not expect this scarlet flame scorpion snake to be able to attack in such a short time after taking the blow of the lightning strike seal head on. She was immediately shocked. Fortunately, her reaction was not slow. A triangular shield instantly appeared in front of her. It was a mid-grade level 2 defensive artifact she carried with her. It was called the 3-element spiritual shield. A red, yellow, and blue spiritual light instantly appeared. With a bang, the shield shook violently. However, in the end, it blocked the snake tail attack of the scarlet flame scorpion snake. However, before Shen Ruiyan could heave a sigh of relief on the other side, the other scarlet flame scorpion snake that was slightly injured breathed a ball of ferocious flame toward Shen Ruiyan from behind.